Greetings, Chris Rex here. The other day I saw a video by this guy Josh where he sought to discount evolution in a mere couple of minutes using his very limited comprehension of science. So I am going to attempt to do the opposite thing here by addressing each of his creationist talking points. To begin with, faith is only required when there is little to no scientific evidence to support a particular view. Otherwise we have things like statistics and science. But who says the science of evolution anyways? You mean evolutionary science? To answer your question, Mr. Creationist, yes, this has been a real science ever since and even a little bit before Darwin. Do you really think that events that cannot or are not observed can't be proven? I take it you're referring to middle school science class where you learn that the parameters of science or the scientific method involves observing and repeating things in order to support or disprove hypotheses. Well, then please explain to me how astronomy, geology, forensics, or even history works. Take all the time you need. It's unfortunate how many people don't understand what scientific theory consists of, so allow me to illuminate you. In science we have facts, things that are entirely unproven, things that are hypotheses, and things that are theories or laws. Theories describe how or why something works, while laws describe what something is and try to predict future events. There is nothing in science as above or beyond a theory or law. The Big Bang Theory has far more evidence supporting it than any single claim in the Bible. Period. You would know this if you cared to learn about astrophysics or quantum theory. Abiogenesis, or the creation of life from non-life, is inevitable given the right conditions and a long enough period of time. Organisms did not develop different characteristics and traits because they willed it. Anyone honestly claiming this has clearly no idea what natural selection is. Those that were unlucky or deemed unfit by nature were killed and or unable to reproduce. That is natural selection. Evolution by natural selection perfectly explains how all life on this planet came to be after that initial organism formed or was introduced by an asteroid via a process called panspermia. We're not going to talk about that. If you have ever watched the Saw movies, you have an idea of how motivating the threat of death or extinction can be to an organism or to a species. Have you heard of the field of biology called genetics? It can easily determine that all life originated from a common ancestor. I have done some of this research myself while working in a lab doing epigenetics research as an undergraduate. You can readily tell that the same DNA sequencing technology that enables you to determine who your parents are permits you to tell who your closest genetic relatives are, even as far as thousands and millions of generations ago. Now, you must be a little rusty on your knowledge of the law of thermodynamics, I think, Josh, because there's not one law. There are, in fact, 4 laws of thermodynamics. But for the sake of argument, I'm going to assume that you were attempting to refer to the second law of thermodynamics, which states that the entropy of a closed system never decreases, that things always become more unordered over time. Now, admittedly, living systems appear to defy the second law of thermodynamics because they create order from disorder. But think about it. What's the net result overall? Trophic levels are a great way to explain why you can only have 1/10 of the number of primary consumers, or animals like mice and deer, than you do producers, organisms like plants, and only 1/10 of the number of secondary consumers, like coyotes, than you do primary consumers. Therefore, you can only have 1 coyote feeding upon 10 deer, which are feeding upon 100 plants. If living organisms truly defied the second law of thermodynamics, wouldn't there be the same number of organisms at each trophic level? The world is constantly increasing in entropy, not order. Earth travels around the sun because we are constantly losing order or energy from the birth of the solar system, which was also an entropy increasing event. The tides come in and out due to the gravitational pull of the moon, an event which increases entropy because it taxes the moon's energy to do so. Nothing is free. The appearance of having order for a moment means little because entropy is inevitable and acts on every single facet of the universe. Let's begin by taking your example, Josh, in context. Ignoring the fact that a tornado creating a brand new Lamborghini from a junkyard is obviously ridiculous and impossible, think about how an enormous amount of chaos is created by such a traumatic event. Even if a little bit of order, such as the assembly of a Lamborghini, results from it. The same kind of thing happened at the moment life on this planet began, many billions of years ago. Through much chaos comes a little order, by pure coincidence. Now, let's take an aside for a moment and discuss certain things that show the properties of life by appearing to create order from disorder. Some kinds of non-living chemicals are capable of self-assembling in water. It appears as though their lowest energy, most stable state involves binding with others like them. So even though people might assume that such order-creating behavior violates the second law of thermodynamics, it really doesn't because it's still energetically downhill and conservative. We are under this illusion that Earth is perfect for life. Therefore, it must have been created by somebody with life in mind. But how many times has life on this planet nearly been extinguished? There have been several mass extinctions caused by comets, asteroids, volcanoes, gamma ray bursts, and climate change that have wiped out 70 to 95% of all species each time. And you think this planet is perfect? Sure sounds like intelligent design to me. Speaking of which, intelligent design is not by any means a scientific theory. Okay? It's not even a valid hypothesis at this point, given the vast amounts of evidence mounting against it. Josh, you've experienced God. Really? Which professional scientists evaluated your claim? What journal was that report published in? Because I'd love to read it. But what is wrong with knowing that life is a beautiful accident or a side effect of the known laws of the universe? I personally think that knowledge makes life even more special and endearing than believing some random, unseen deity with no causal explanation for its own existence created all this. Let me give you the true origin of the word universe. According to dictionary.com, it's from the Latin universum, which is the noun used for the neuter of universus, from uni, which is one. You're right, Josh. You got that. And versus, which is the past participle of vertere, which means to turn. Therefore, universe means turned into one, not from one single statement or verse. Now, why do we let science be taught in schools? Because science is fact. No faith is required, just p-values. That's all that we ask. Science is progress. Science results in technology. Science regulates itself and constantly changes and adapts. Science enables people to live longer, healthier, happier lives. Science, man. Science. Now let me finish off by saying this. Josh, you have a great voice. I mean, you sound just like Lewis Black, which is cool as hell, dude. But I really hope that you and others like you can take some time out to learn more about the topics I've covered in this video, since there are obviously a lot of misconceptions out there regarding science. And if you'd like to leave your 2 cents in the comments section of this video, please do so, and thank you for watching.